Academic and behavioral profiling, strength-based assessment. Today we step into a space of deeper understanding, learning how to truly see children beyond labels and limitations. You're welcome to SafeSettings podcast. I am Adedamola Flourish Balami. So today we observe, we understand, we discover strength because every child carries in them the abilities that may not always appear through traditional measures, and strength-based assessment helps us to notice what is working, not only what needs support, but what is working in the children. Academic and behavioral profiling is not about placing children into boxes. It is about understanding how they learn, how they respond, and where their natural strengths shine. So when we talk about strength-based assessment, we're talking about shifting our focus from what is wrong to what is strong. And when I wrote this, it made me remember growing up and want to say, what is wrong with you? But it's like when someone has offended you and you want to say what is wrong with you, you just say, what is strong with you? So strength-based assessments shift our focus from what is wrong to what is strong. Some children may struggle with attention, but they show remarkable strength in creativity. Some may find reading difficult but demonstrate strong problem-solving skills or emotional awareness. When strengths are recognized, the brain's motivation systems activate more effectively. When you recognize a strength in a child, their brain kind of gets more motivated and they become more motivated. So it comes from an inner place where they're encouraging themselves to do better. Children become more engaged, confident, and willing to participate in learning because they feel seen for who they are. They feel appreciated for what their strength is, not judged by what they lack. That saying that if you keep measuring the ability of a fish to swim when you put or if you keep measuring the ability of a fish to climb a tree or something like that you are never going to get it. Academic profiling through exceptionality. It becomes more meaningful when we view children through the lens of exceptionality when we're profiling them. Without talking about exceptionality, we have discussed profiling. Like we're looking at what is strong in a child so that we can fan it, we can harness it, and use that as a leverage to encourage them to be motivated towards improving what is not working as it should. Now we're looking at it from the perspective of exceptionality. When we say exceptionality, most of the time people are thinking of special needs, people are thinking of people with disabilities and all that. It reminds us that learners develop differently, basically. That's the first thing exceptionality does, because talking about exceptionality, some children are gifted, which means they are advanced in their cognitive abilities. Some are advanced in every area of cognitive abilities. Some are advanced in certain areas of cognitive abilities, and others may be experiencing learning differences. So exceptionality is kind of all-encompassing. So others may be experiencing learning differences like ADHD, dyslexia, or varied processing styles. Strength-based academic profiling asks the question, what makes this child unique in how they think and how they learn? What makes them unique in how they think and how they learn? So instead of comparing children to a fixed academic standard, strength-based academic profiling helps us to begin to notice patterns. A child who struggles with writing may excel in verbal reasoning. A child who needs movement may process information more effectively through hands-on learning. And a child who learns slowly may retain information deeply once they understand it. Some of us fall in that category. I can be very slow at learning, using myself as an example in this podcast. But once I learn it and I know it, I have a deeper a deeper understanding of that information. So some children are like that. They learn slowly, but they retain information deeply once they understand it. When we pay attention to such things in child, we see that when we study the strength in a child, it will lead the assessment process. Alright? Because exceptionality shows different cognitive pathways. It's not showing deficits only. So looking at strength in a child, what is strong, helps us to guide our assessment process. And so when we are able to assess from that perspective, interventions become supportive, personalized, and empowering. I had an interaction with someone that's meant to teach children, and she just went on and on saying she's stubborn, she's a spoiled child. In fact, I removed her from my class. I said I would not teach her and all that. I'm like, calm down with this child. Let's even understand what's going on. That the child is constantly saying no. The child finds it interesting to disobey her authority. She is so strong at disobedience and all. By the time the child started going through profiling and all that, it was a case of ODD, right? Oppositional defiant disorder, where the child just finds it, she just didn't want authority, anybody controlling her and all that. And there's a way you can use it as an educator to your advantage. So behavioral profiling, when it is profiled from realizing that exceptionality reflects diverse cognitive pathways instead of deficits, it helps us lead our assessment process via strength. And so intervention becomes personalized, it becomes supportive, and it becomes empowering. If we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs as well, when we want to profile a child's behavior based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it becomes clearer. Because the framework teaches us that behavior is often connected to unmet needs rather than intentional defiance. So, physiological needs like hunger, fatigue, physical discomfort may affect attention and mood in class. I learned of a teacher that noticed a very gregarious child that participates and very engaging in class, just looking so moody and dull. And the teacher didn't understand, kept asking, "What's wrong with you? Finyi, is everything okay? Finyi, is everything?" This child was going from being quiet to just disengaged completely, and the teacher didn't understand until it was break time, and the teacher looked at the boy's leg. The little boy's leg was swollen. The teacher was alarmed, checked the legs and all, thinking that maybe something was biting the child in the shoe, only to discover that the shoe was extremely tight for that child. The shoe was extremely tight for that child, so they, took off the shoes, and the child became relaxed and started playing. Physiological needs, hunger, fatigue, physical discomfort may affect attention and mood of a child that you are trying to teach. And that doesn't only apply to teachers, even parents at home. We need to know this. Your child has not eaten. You say, "Finish your homework." It is when they return from school that food starts getting to the cooker top. And so the children are starving, and you are saying, "Finish homework." Or a child has been in class all day working projects and all, you are not letting them relax a bit before they jump into homework and jump into house chores and jump into reading and all. There needs to be a break. Physiological needs should be put into consideration. What about safety needs? Emotional or environmental insecurity can lead to withdrawal or heightened reactions in children. So let's always check our environment. What may be making this environment uncomfortable for these children's learning, for their growth, for their development? what may be affecting their attention in the environment. Same thing with belonging needs. A child that is seeking connection may display attention-seeking behaviors in class, may display attention-seeking behavior at home, may display attention-seeking behaviors in church, because the child is seeking connection. Imagine a child asking you that all they want is to have that connection with their father or their mother, and the father is just busy being the lion of the tribe of his family, untouchable. You must not touch him, you must not look at his face, you must not smile. He just wants everything to be prim and proper. So that child growing in that family that is seeking connection may be displaying attention-seeking behavior, because according to Maslow's hierarchies of need, his own need at that time is belonging need. The same thing with esteem. When a child has esteem needs, low confidence may appear as avoidance, resistance, non-participatory behavior. So you are saying somebody should raise their hands and respond in class. They cannot, they don't want to, because they have low confidence as a result of esteem needs. They just need their self-esteem to be boosted, to be, And then self-actualization. When needs are met, children begin to explore creativity, leadership, and purpose. The same thing with us adults. As a matter of fact, if we turn that Maslow's hierarchies of needs upside down, we'll be having a different discussion entirely. But let's continue on this line of discussion with regards to our children. When all these other needs for safety, for physiological support, for belonging, for esteem are met, then the need for self-actualization, because other needs are met, the children now are interested in creativity, they are interested in leadership, they are interested in pursuing purpose. This approach of assessment will shift, the question from what is wrong with this child to what need might be unmet right now, because we're looking for what is strong in them, and unmet needs might be limiting that strength that we're looking for in them. So when families and educators understand behavior through needs, responses become more compassionate and effective. So academic profiling will now help us to understand how the children learn, and behavioral profiling will help us to understand why they respond the way they do. Together, these two factors will create a holistic strength-based pathway that will support both learning and emotional well-being. Strength-based assessment approach is like, first of all, you start by identifying what a child enjoys or what the child does well. You remember we said what is strong, not what is wrong. Then we use that strength as an entry point for challenging tasks. If a child is very strong verbally, encourage them that you understand grammar like this, you speak simple and correct English. You should be able to use that to interpret this mathematical problem. So first of all, before you start solving the maths problem, understand it, read it out to yourself, say it out loud, ask yourself questions, and understand what the story is saying. So we start by identifying what a child enjoys or does well. Number 2, we use that strength as entry points for challenging tasks. And number 3, observe behaviors through the lens of needs, not labels. Remember, the ABC model, antecedent. Why is this behavior occurring? What happened before this behavior? So observe behavior through the lens of needs, not labels. And number 4, encourage growth without comparison. Don't say your sister is busy there scoring all A's. You are there as the senior one in this house. You don't need all that. Encourage growth without comparison. Instead of saying you need to improve in everything, try say, I see your strength here. Let us use that strength to support you in this area too. By so doing, the child sees that, okay, I have strength and I can apply the same ability to this area of my life where I'm having challenges. As we talk about support and coaching today, I want to invite you into a gentle moment of reflection. Ask, Was there a form of support that helped you feel more confident in your parenting journey? Maybe it was a conversation that gave you clarity, a space where you felt heard without judgment, or simply learning that you were not even alone in your experiences. Consider that whatever conversation has helped you feel more confident as a parent, that made you feel like you're getting it, you're doing something good here for your family. Another area that I would like us to reflect on is the question, was there a small coaching strategy that quietly changed the way you respond to your child? In any bit, was there that small coaching strategy that helped you change the way you respond to your child? Maybe pausing before reacting, asking more curious questions, choosing calmer words during difficult moments, or letting them know that you are interested in understanding them. Whatever it is, the smallest shift in approach creates the greatest change in connection. And that is why we're taking this reflection. Because the reflections remind us that confident parenting does not come from perfection. It grows through support, awareness, and the willingness to learn new ways of connecting with these children. So as we reflect on this, think about your child or the child that you work with as a minder or as a teacher, as a school owner. Was there a strength that you noticed in that child that changed the way you supported the child? We're talking about what is strong. Have you noticed any strength in that child that you are minding, the child you are teaching in your class, that will change the way you support them? Maybe you see creativity where others are seeing distraction, or you see resilience where others are seeing resistance, or sometimes you recognize one strength just in the child. Because when we do that recognition, that recognizing of one's strength can shift the entire approach of the school to the child, of every teacher to the child, even the approach of learning of the child. When we do all these things, our responses will become calmer and more compassionate. Has there been a time when you understand the child's deeper needs? Based on all these things we are discussing, have you found yourself understanding, there must be something that my child needs more than... We asked the child, why is it that you fight your lesson teacher? You don't want to do lesson. Because the mother said they have changed lesson teachers. They have used teachers from the child's school to teach the child at home. They have registered the child in lesson in school. The child just kept resisting teachers. So we engaged with the child and we started asking, so what is happening? Why don't you want lesson teachers? Why don't you want help? And it's not like you have it all figured out academically. What's going on? The child said that the father always compared him with other children. So he is resisting teachers to prove to the father that he has the capacity to achieve academic success. Can you imagine that? So these reflections remind us that when we look beyond behavior and we truly see the child, support becomes meaningful and growth begins to feel possible. Here are the practical takeaways from today's topic. Observe before labeling. Document strengths alongside challenges. Don't just be on the lookout for challenges. Consider learning differences as unique pathways, not limitations for children. And lastly, look beyond behavior to identify underlying needs in children. Here is the episode challenge. This week, write down 3 strengths that you notice in a child that you support, or in your own child. 3 strengths that you notice in a child in your class, your own child, or a child that you support. Then when you have identified them and you have written them down, reflect on one behavior and ask, what need could be behind this? Reflect on one behavior of the child and ask, what need could be behind this behavior? Now notice how understanding will shift your responses. We have come to the end of this episode of Safe Settings podcast on strength-based profiling for children. And I am still your host, Adedamola Flourish Balami, reminding you that every child carries a story of strength waiting to be seen. When we look through a strength-based lens, we move from correction to understanding, and something beautiful begins to unfold. Have a beautiful time.